Well, there's the sound. We're gathered around the water cooler again to talk about this week's episode of Moon Knight. This is Moon Knight episode 3 for those playing at home. I've watched it. I've loved it. Sevy's watched it. Bit so-so, right?
Bit so-so.
Not too happy?
Very so-so.
Sevy doesn't think he likes the director is what we're getting at here. We just had a little bit of a chat before we came on. We just thought, actually, we should be recording this. Probably what we should be doing.
Well, as you would know from the if you've listened to us talk about this show previously, first episode wasn't a fan. Second episode was a fan. This episode, not a fan.
Which was funny to me because I was watching this show being like, oh, Sevy would be liking this one because it's more action.
It was more action, but it was the pacing was not right. It was, I don't know, something was not right in the episode.
Right.
But the common denominator we've just found out is Mohammed Diab.
Directed episode 1,
directed
episode 3.
Didn't do the second one, did the third one. My two least favourites, he directed.
Well, we'll see who's directing episode 4 before it drops.
I won't look until I've watched it.
Yeah, fair.
And then we'll find out how it goes.
So we are halfway through the series now, and this one ended with pretty major ramifications, which is
Khonshu went bye-bye.
Khonshu getting entombed in stone, which takes Moon Knight's powers.
Yes.
Now, this episode actually gave us so much to work with.
Well, we got Jake.
We possibly got Jake Lockley.
We 100% got Jake. Don't be silly.
Well, look.
Neither of them know what the bloody hell's going on because he's like, Stephen, was that you? And he's like, no.
So
Stephen, stop doing that. It wasn't me.
The hard thing with Jake is that if it's him, they've changed his character pretty severely. Like they've done, but I mean, they've changed Mr. Knight's character. They've changed a bunch of things already. So
I was going to say, so do you really not think that they're going to change?
Yeah, possibly. But to make him more brutal than Mark would be an interesting choice because he's not. Like, he's more of a informant kind of guy.
So it makes you think, from what we saw from this episode, how brutal whoever it was that took over was a lot more brutal than Mark.
Mm.
Was that him in the town near the castle as well? And it wasn't Mark.
I mean, possibly. But he was after the Scarab, which is what Mark's been after.
Maybe they're all after the Scarab. Or maybe Jake's after the Scarab because Stephen didn't know there was a Scarab, did he? He had no idea.
So Jake's kind of story is he's a New York cab driver. So that was interesting that he woke up in a cab as well.
Yep.
It's always good. I love that as well, that Stephen takes over and his first instinct is get a cab, I'm going home.
Yeah. See you, bye.
But it's like, it's happened to him before. Like when he woke up in the Alps outside the castle, he was like, well, looks like I'm going to get home. This poor guy.
He's just getting dragged along.
He's waking up, he's like, well, looks like I'm going to get home again.
I did like how Mark was trying
Somebody's got to feed my fish.
He was pretending to understand all the Egyptian stuff, and she's like, just let Stephen in. It's like,
Yeah.
nah,
Yeah.
not going to happen.
I like the respect that she has for Stephen.
Yeah, now that she's learned.
Yeah, because it's making like Stephen appear less of a joke. You know, they're like he
knows stuff.
He has value that he's bringing to this.
Yeah.
What's interesting as well is that those books in his apartment last episode, did you see what the titles on them as well?
No.
One was about Asgard. It was like,
oh, I did see something
Asgard,
on
what's old
TikTok
is new again,
about
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the other one was about Wakanda.
Yes.
So he's studying ancient gods essentially, because Asgard are gods and Wakanda worships Bast.
Yep.
So that's interesting as well that Stephen's going down that side of the world. Look, I want to jump into it now. We got the Egyptian gods' avatars here.
Yes, we did.
5 of the 9. So we didn't get the full Ennead, which is interesting because it means that possibly a few of them aren't on board with what's happening,
Yep.
or no longer care enough.
Well, who did we miss?
Was it Osiris? No.
Osiris was there.
Osiris was there.
He was the main guy.
Horus was there.
Osiris was the main one talking.
Yeah. No, there was I think 3 were missing from memory. Anyway.
Because I don't think Anubis is supposed to be one of them.
No.
Because he works essentially. Because that's what I looked up. I'm like, hang on a minute, this doesn't make sense. And then I looked it up and I'm like, oh, okay, so they've changed it.
Yeah, he was
Anubis
was a ferryman in this.
Well, Anubis was the big guy.
Yeah.
Osiris then took over.
Yeah.
And then it turns out later on, I think it was like in something AD, it was like 58 AD or something, Roman times, they started seeing things on the walls saying that Anubis now chooses whether you see Osiris or not. So it's like he's either been the big guy and retired, or he's just been told to go down there and don't ask questions.
Yeah.
So that's funny.
So we've got like I said, we've got a couple in here. So it was Horus, Isis, Tefnut, Osiris, and Hathor. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
What was interesting was the mention of the pocket dimension that they're all in, which is the overvoid. So he was like, "Oh, you're all just sitting in the overvoid, having a good time, barely even remembering what's going on here." And their explanation was well, humanity forgot us a long time ago, so we're essentially washing our hands of humanity. So they've just got their avatars there, just going about their business.
Yeah, humanity went the Jesus route.
Yeah, pretty much. And
What a silly thing that is to do.
they're living in the overvoid. Now, the reason why I'm kind of drilling down into this is because they've essentially turned their back on humanity.
Yeah, of course they have.
And they're not.
Humanity turned their back on them.
Yeah, but that's not the thing that pisses off Gore the God Butcher. The thing that pisses off Gore is when gods refuse to help, have all the power to help, but refuse to use it. Because they're not being properly worshipped or whatever.
So obviously he was obviously in a situation where the gods could have helped and they didn't.
Very much so.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
So now he's just pissed off at everyone.
At
all the gods. Well,
and thinks
Asgardians aren't gods. They're just aliens from a different
that
planet.
the world would be better off if there were no gods, because everyone would solve their own problems instead of waiting for gods to intervene.
Oh, mate, I'm 100% on his side. Let's do it. Let's go, Christian. Mr. Bale.
So
I'm a Gore fan. See, this is another Thanos.
yeah.
Thanos was right. Like, Thanos was 100% right.
Well, are you still
You
seeing...
know why Thanos was right? Because he was trying to stop the Celestials. You can see it now, why he was doing what he was
Are
doing.
you still there, though? Thinking...
I'm not
that
here, I'm gone.
Maybe
I'm
Arthur
gone.
Harrow? He's right? Because you were...
No, he's lost the plot.
You were on his side for a bit there.
Yeah, I was for a bit. He's out of control. He was making a good point until what was it? The end of the... I think it was the end of the second episode. He was making a good point and then he just went, oh...
Also, will kill children.
Yeah. Not only will kill children, we'll just give them cancer of the arm. So they got to lose their arm and then learn how to deal with that, and then they might be good after that.
What?
It's like, oh, wow, that's a bit of a stretch, guys. Come on. That's a bit of a risk.
Oh, man. We had different
wouldn't you prefer
interpretations
just
on
to-
that.
Wouldn't you just prefer to kill them?
We had massively different interpretations on him the way he said that.
That's what he said.
Well, no, he treated the human population as a body. And he said...
The way, because he said something about pulling off an arm.
Yeah, he did. So he said, if
And
the
I was like,
entire
maybe-
population is a body, and you've got cancer in the arm, and you have to chop off the arm to save the body...
That's what I mean.
Yeah, so he's not
So the
telling
way
you
I
about
took
cutting
that
off
was
kids' arms.
No, he's talking about giving kids problems and then maybe they'll turn out good once they've gone through all the shit that they've got to go through.
He's saying that if that kid is bad, regardless of whether they've got free will, whatever the go is, it's that kid might do something bad. That kid is the cancer.
Let's just break it down. He's doing evil things to children.
Well, he is. He's killing kids before they have the chance to decide whether they're good or evil. He's deciding before them that they're going to be evil. We have to kill them.
Well, see, if I've read into it wrong, I still agree with him then. I don't care. It's still a life form. Who cares? Whether you're young or old, if you're going to do bad shit, get out of here.
Yeah. Okay, so you're back on Arthur Harris.
Imagine if he won. How good the world would be if he won.
Well, it depends if we're
There's
here
no bad
because
people.
where's the line? You know what I mean? Like, what's the judgment? Is it...
The line is bad. You jaywalk, bad, dead. That's it. Dead.
You got a real vigilante way of this. I used to shoot people
that's right.
for smoking weed.
That's right. If you smoke weed, dead.
But then we legalized it, so now it's okay.
That's fine. That's okay. So what about the people that died from it beforehand?
This is what I mean.
Too bad.
Are we punishing them via the laws of man or the laws of the gods?
That's also a great question. That is a great question. I would say it would be the laws of gods, which means it's whatever he thinks is bad. So therefore, because he's a god, essentially, well, he's got a god talking through
And
him.
most gods are self-serving.
So therefore, it's the word of God, so he wins. Who are we to argue with gods? Who are we?
Well,
Who?
I mean, we're on God the God Butcher's side, so...
Hey, I'm on his side. I'm on Thanos. Is Thanos a god? He's a god.
He's a celestial?
Well, yeah, so that's a god. That's better than
Yeah,
gods, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's next
Yeah,
level.
apparently.
He's big dog.
Anyway.
Thanos is running around snapping people. Gore's running around just killing gods.
Well, gods are out of control. We know this because Khonshu was out there apparently turning back time in the sky. I don't know if it's just
Not only is he turning back time, he's making bloody eclipses. You can't just make the moon move. You're going to ruin the tides.
This is why the gods were so angry at him.
He's a moron. He's just caused tsunamis in bloody Thailand again.
Yeah. He's destroying everything. But
Maybe that was him.
what's interesting is to turn back the night sky for us means you're moving planets and stars and all that stuff. Like, is he bringing back Asgard?
Well, yeah, it would have brought it back.
You know what I mean? Like, is he actually turning back 2,000 years of time in
Yes.
MCU?
100%.
Or is it just this is a visual representation of what's changing?
Did he turn it back?
No, he was turned to
Did he get
stone
flipped
before.
back? No, but the other gods might have turned it
I
back.
don't know if they've got the power to.
Cyrus would have to have the power too. He's a big
I
dog.
think so. But look, I'm saying, man.
Because he made. You got to remember, Cyrus is the one who made Khonshu shut up and just stay still. Like he just. You're not going to hit him.
Well, let's talk about this. The council meeting they had, because this is the difference. They're so busy off in the other world, just overvoid, ignoring the world, that Harrow was able to essentially talk them around and manipulate them.
See, he's doing the right thing. Even the gods think so.
Yeah, that was hard to watch.
He's a good guy.
And the hardest thing
What's
to
your
watch
problem?
was Oscar Isaac's portrayal of a man just struggling there.
Well, that's him through all 3 episodes so far.
He's
a man just struggling. That's all he is.
he's been perfect.
He's just. I will give him that. He has been
He's
perfect.
been so good.
Like his acting is.
I
so
even
good.
love how you can look like this is what I kind of got my partner to watch a bit of Split
Ethan
the other
Hawke.
day, but she
Ethan
didn't watch
Hawke
enough
let me
of
down
it.
in the first step,
Yeah,
but then came good.
but
But
it's the fact
Yeah.
that you've got these different personalities in a face. And if you're that good of an actor that I can tell which personality is in control just by looking at you without you speaking. Like the accents are a different thing, but it's just his eyebrows.
hello, Patricia,
Like, yeah, this is what I mean. Split. You could tell
who took over.
before he even said a word. James McAvoy
Well,
is that good.
What was the kid's name?
I can't remember. Barney or something like that. Or-
Because it was good because he would just automatically just drop down low and want to play.
Yeah. Everything about that was amazing. But this is what Oscar Isaac's doing for me. It's that without him speaking, just by his facial expressions, you can tell if it is Mark or if it's Steven. Steven's more hopeful. His eyes are up. Like Mark is looking down. His eyebrows are down. He's carrying the burdens of the world on him. You know, it's so cool. I'm excited to see what he does with Jake. Obviously, we're gonna get a full-on New York accent with him, but keen for that. Anyway, so we ended with obviously him getting caught. We know that he's not going to have his Moon Knight powers. We got more explanation on what the Moon Knight powers are in this show as well, with the whole healing factor.
Yep.
Like getting actually told, without my healing armor, you'd be dead.
Yeah.
That healing factor is on par with Deadpool.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he took spears.
Spears through him.
He got shot.
Yeah,
Several times.
Multiple times. With his cape up as well. I loved the jump off the top of the pyramid.
Oh, on the moon.
With the moon cape.
With the cape.
I loved that. That was cool. That felt like Batman to me. Like, I love that. Okay, that was great.
I'm a moon bat.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Him. Oh, you know what? All right. We do have to take it back to the start just a little bit here, because the way they opened this episode with Layla getting her fake passport.
Yeah.
So that to me obviously said straight away, we can't trust the passport that we saw from the first episode.
You can't trust anything.
No, because it could be.
We literally cannot trust a thing right now. Like nothing.
Could be a fake one.
It's the same as Wanda.
Yeah, pretty much. But Layla is like, the storyline they're giving her is actually like Marlene, it seems. So Marlene in the comics is Mark's wife, girlfriend, love interest kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whose father was an archaeologist who was killed on a dig site.
That's exactly what they said.
Yeah, by the Bushmen.
Yeah, that's what they said, didn't they?
Well, this is what I'm saying.
Didn't they say that in the episode?
Yeah. Or that her father...
Yeah, so
well, they
it's
didn't
just-
say he was... I don't think they said he was killed. They just said that he was an archaeologist and that he used to take her to dig sites and all this kind of stuff.
So they just changed her name.
But that was Moon Knight's origin that happened in, which we've already had kind of alluding to. Arthur Harrow even alludes to the possibility that her father's death might be Mark's fault,
Yeah.
which Mark dismisses and says he's just trying to separate us. He's just trying to...
What if it's not Mark?
Yeah.
What if it's Jake?
Could be Jacob and Stephen, who knows? Probably wasn't.
No, it wasn't Stephen. He doesn't know what's going on.
Nice.
He's lost.
Yeah, poor Stephen.
He's just a nerd.
Poor Stephen from the gift shop.
Yeah, that's right.
So we do get that episode, that part here now, where he says to her on that boat on the way over that he used to be able to control it, but something changed recently. And whether that's actually Khonshu like taking it over him, which forced it to change, or because we don't know how long he's been Moon Knight.
No, we've got no idea.
You know, so that's we don't know if that's that or if it's just trauma that's kind of made this worse of things that Mark's having to do.
Hey, it seems like I've just pulled up the star rating for this on IMDb, and I didn't even notice this before.
Yeah,
People agree with me.
yeah. So two ahead.
8.1 was the first one. 8.2 was the second, and an 8 was the third. So the second episode is...
But did you prefer
the
the
higher
first
rating.
more than the third?
No.
Yeah.
The first sucked. The third was definitely better than the first.
Yeah.
But the third ticked boxes that the first didn't for me. Like, I got the action.
So speaking of the action, so we get him going to this black market deal for the actor Gaspar Iliad, who passed away January this year.
Yep.
Playing the Midnight Man. The Midnight Man, Anton, he's one of the rogue gallery for Midnight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
They did have a little reference to it being midnight at the end, where he's standing on the clock tower, or Khonshu's standing on the clock and it's striking midnight. I'm pretty sure it strikes midnight as Midnight throws that crescent and hits him as he's riding away.
Yep.
So the Midnight Man in the comics is pretty much a cat thief who steals antiquities at midnight. So he's kind of the same character here. Just wasn't in his costume, which looks a lot like Black Panther in the comics. He's an antiquities dealer here who they've gone to find the sarcophagus of Senfu, which is going to give them information apparently about the location of Amit's tomb. Got a lot of Egyptian words out there, so I'm happy we got through there. We get to see that whole thing of Layla telling Mark to just let Stephen take over.
Yep.
And almost like throughout this episode, we're seeing her asking him that more and more. Like, it's great that you're here for the fighting, but we need Stephen's intellectual side for this. I like that he kind of refuses to at first and just makes Stephen tell him what to do. But he's not at Stephen's level in regards to that. Now the fight, getting absolutely speared and everything, then switching to Mr. Knight, that little bit of comic relief. How'd you feel about that?
Yeah.
Wasn't a fan?
No, I don't know.
People are really angry about how they're doing Mr. Knight in this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like
I like Stephen. I don't like Mr. Knight.
See, I'm feeling like it's the
if that
same
makes
person.
sense.
And that's what's changed for me. It's that Mr. Knight is Stephen just in the suit, and Moon Knight is Mark just in the suit.
Isn't that how it's meant to be, though?
No.
Isn't Moon Knight meant to be Mark just in a suit?
I mean, in some comics, yeah, but in others, no. This is what I mean. Like, this is why when people are angry about it, but they're more angry about Mr. Knight because he's only been around for 6 years, maybe.
Yeah.
And he hasn't had many different like, he's been the same character the whole time.
Yeah, right.
You know? So the way they've done this split of making it more about, that's just superpowered Stephen. And that's...
So who's Jake going to have?
Well, yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? This is what I mean. Like, is he going to have his own suit? What's he going to do? There is another Moon Knight persona out there.
And who's that?
I'm trying to remember now. I can't remember what they called him, but he looks like Moon Knight, but without the cape, essentially, but doesn't have the suit. Yeah. Anyway, there is a choice out there if they want to go that way, but I mean, we're 3 eps in, and we may have just got teased about Jake, so I don't know how far into Jake they're going to go. So we get that fight scene in the kind of horse arena where he's getting absolutely stabbed with the stuff and pinned down. We get to see Layla fight using that whatever weapon she had around her neck was. I think they're giving us a lot of clues that we may actually get Layla given the powers, which I hope they don't go that way. I'm happy to keep Oscar Isaac doing that. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so look, this episode, for me, I was like, I'm just happy to get more Moon Knight, obviously, and the ramifications of it ending with Harrow essentially winning and Khonshu entombed.
Yeah.
I liked his last words to Stephen as well before he did it, of tell Mark to come rescue me.
Yeah, yes.
Because...
Yes, I did like that.
Do we think Mark will rescue him?
Yes, he has to.
Do you think?
Yes, because Mark will miss having the powers too much.
I don't know. Like, what if Mark just goes, well, my issues are over. I'm no longer the fist of Khonshu, and I don't have to worry about him giving Layla powers.
There's bigger things. There's bigger things going on.
It's about whether he has a conscience. And
That's right, and he does. That's why he didn't punch the kid.
Yes.
He slapped the kid. Therefore, he does have a conscience.
But he also said that this is his penance. He sees this as his way of making up for something he's done, which is probably killing Layla's dad.
Killing him, Dad.
So he feels like that's his way of redeeming himself.
Yeah.
So possibly, we are going to see him try to go back. The muse. So the lady in the temple who was like, Khonshu and my gods had a relationship. Played by the Indian American actress. I forget her name. But she was interesting. Was it Hathor? I think that was Hathor.
Who?
Because that's the goddess of the sky. I'm pretty sure she's like the goddess of music, goddess of love, all that kind of, but the goddess of the sky.
I don't know.
And she's the one that tells Mark, go look for Sefnut's tomb. For Senfa's tomb. Because that's probably where you could find the location.
Yeah.
So there's a chance that she's going to play a part in obviously rescuing Khonshu. But the question is whether she wants to rescue Khonshu or wants to wait for Amit to make the world essentially heaven on earth and then live there with Khonshu. Like, does she actually care about people or not?
Probably not.
You know what I mean?
I don't think any of the gods care about people, to be honest.
No, I don't think they do either. So I don't think we can rely on the gods to help.
No.
Even Khonshu's help isn't help. It's his own perverted.
That's right. He does whatever he wants to do. So someone needs to snap these guys out of it.
Gore.
Gore. Have him show up and
Bring
kill
in
them all.
Gore. Look, I don't know if we're getting any connections to the MCU. Anyway, I'm obviously looking for him because that's what I've been trained to do. So I'm seeing Gore here. I'm also thinking about the power broker. Like, I've just got the power broker in my head here, Sharon, because we're dealing in antiquities.
I had the power broker in my head when we were watching this show, and I couldn't remember her name. And now I don't know what we were discussing on why.
Would it be because they
popped into
mentioned
my head.
Madripoor very specifically?
Yes, that's what it was. That's exactly what it was. And then I thought, Wolverine.
Yes. But that's what I mean. Like, I had the same thing. I was like, well, we just mentioned Madripoor, and everything we're doing is to do with antiquities and dealing.
Yep.
And that's what Sharon was all about. So...
Heard it here first, Moon Knight versus Sharon.
Or is it going to be Sharon versus Layla?
And Moon Knight versus Sharon.
Yeah.
So it all comes back in the end anyway.
Yeah. But anyway, that's where it could tie in. We don't know if it will, but that's us being hopeful. Look, I'm loving it. You're obviously on the fence.
I'm fencing very hard.
Fencing hard. You said before, if there's a 3-episode treatment, you'd stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would. I wouldn't keep going. But we have to because there's 6 eps and we've already started.
It's the way it goes though with these, isn't it? You're like, well, I'm 3 eps in. May as well finish it.
There's only 3 eps, so
yeah. See, 3.
Well, it's not like Superman where we just gave up and went, you know what? There's still 25 episodes left.
We gave up on like 13 for that one though, right?
Yeah.
Like, we got halfway through a season.
We kept trying to hold on.
Yeah.
And it just didn't get any better.
Yeah.
So
anyway, hey.
Fingers crossed this gets better.
Well, I reckon the finale will be done by Muhammad regardless.
Oh,
so
no.
I reckon you're not going to like that.
Worst season finale ever.
But if the story is strong, let's just enjoy that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Did you enjoy this, guys? Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Otherwise, I'm sitting on the fence with Seve, and we'll see you next week.
And if you didn't, if you enjoyed as much as I did, you've already given up.
Yeah, you may have stopped.
And you're not even listening to this, so don't worry about
You're
it.
sitting here right now thinking, there's only
Why am I
3
listening to
episodes
this?
left. I guess I could push through.
Do I listen to these guys for 3 more episodes? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't know. There might be like things that they saw that they didn't like that they've listened to now and gone, oh, actually, okay, well, that was the Midnight Man. I guess that makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
Look, I don't know. There's, I had this other little thought
Uh-oh.
of where Arthur Harrow might be going. And
To death.
no, I think he could end up being
Dead.
well, the Shadow Knight. And that's
Who is that?
Yeah, so that's a villain who is kind of opposite Moon Knight, obviously. Almost the nemesis of Moon Knight, if you will. Popped up in, I think, the Hulk was his first appearance. He's yeah. Look, I don't want to go deep into this, but I just want to throw it out there that I think Shadow Knight might be on the horizon for Arthur Harrow, just because he's already been Moon Knight, and now he's another god's avatar, and he could convince that god to go the same route as Moon Knight.
Yep.
Which we know the other gods don't do, and look down on. But Amit could be a little different, because this could all be about Arthur Harrow trying to get those powers back after losing them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think there's got to be something deeper there. Even, like, it's personal for him as well. Like, he was rejected by a god to the point where he's walking out and he holds that statue when he sees him there, and he's like, I have to thank you. You put me on this path by rejecting me. Yeah, Ethan Hawke, I loved. This is what's getting me through this. I'm loving Ethan Hawke. I'm loving Oscar Isaac, and obviously the mythology behind it
I
all.
was going to say, you're loving the whole show.
Well, no, there are points where I'm like, oh, but I'm focusing on what I love. It's what I do. Anyway,
Yeah.
cheers, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Boy.
Hey.